All right, let's give this a shot. Let's see if this works. This is 4.0. We need 4 Blender. Let's just go to the Blender on my desktop here. Minimize. And let's go Blender. Let's see if this works. I have never streamed on YouTube before, so I am going to give it a shot, and we're going to see if this actually comes through or if it just goes straight to Twitch. So let me pull up my YouTube account and see if this is streaming there, and if it's not, then it is streaming on Twitch. And let's see. It says I'm not streaming on Twitch. Oh yeah, it does. That's interesting. I was modeling in the wrong Blender last time. That's fine. Let's go back to YouTube. Videos, shorts, playlists. How do I see if I'm live on YouTube? I am not sure if this is working. It's a nice little test. A nice little test to see if this is actually streaming. Quick little test. The remote. Let's go to chat, YouTube chat. And we'll just see if this is working. I almost want to just run this and see if it's working here. That is going. Let me go to YouTube Studio and see if YouTube Studio says that I'm live. Studio. Because OBS says that I'm live. It says that I'm currently live. So let's switch to starting soon here. Says I've been live for 4 minutes, but I am not seeing anything on YouTube on whether I'm live or not. You know what? I wonder if I switch to a different profile, switch account. It does. It says I'm live, and we are on the... I want to make sure sound is working though. It does. It says I'm live. Let's go, you guys. We are actually live on YouTube. That's interesting that when I'm in my channel, I can't, I actually can't actually do anything, which is fine. This is my first time streaming on YouTube. Thanks for coming in. If you do see this, welcome in. Today we're just messing around in Blender. And I just wanted to give YouTube a shot and just kind of test it out, see how I would be able to kind of watch chat and stuff like that. But yeah, just look at things. Just look at how things are going here. Stream seems to be working pretty well. We are going to be making just some simple assets today. Just mess around with some materials that we make using images from online. So let's start with a cube. Cube in scene. Now I have my default settings a little bit different than most people. I have a sky texture already built in just because a lot of when I'm creating materials, I like to use the sky to kind of check it out. There's a material I just made recently, actually. Go to the asset browser here. Lately I have been building my own asset library, and some of these are bought and downloaded for free, but most of them are made actually out of image. Come here, let's set our collection here to materials, and I wanted to show you guys this concrete that I made. Drag this on. This concrete is super useful because, let's zoom in on this. This is like 2 different images that I got off of line, like online. I think all of them are from texturelabs.org, and I'm just using some nodes to kind of mix between them so that no matter what size asset you have, it's got some edge wear, it's got some center wear, and you have full control of your whole collection. So let's see here. I built it all into this node group. So the first concrete 1 color, concrete 1 value. So I can move these to really kind of change concrete 1. Make it like really dark around the edges. Take the color, this is the saturation or the hue of that collection, and then the location of that material on the XYZ coordinate. And so didn't really need the Z on that, but it's totally fine. And so this way you can kind of prevent tiling from happening. And I'll go through and explain how this one works, but just to kind of give you a precursor, maybe I'll drop this one for free up on Gumroad just so people have a nice material that they can use. Then we have concrete value 2, the color of concrete 2, the value of concrete 2. So this is just a different noise texture that's masking this one in. And also the location of this one as well. And so we're just kind of blending between some, and then obviously we have the center color. Right now I have it set to kind of a red, but I thought that kind of looked cool, like there was red paint there, but it's chipping off on the side. And then we have the saturation of the center, which you can kind of mess with that, and we have the value. You can also make that darker or make it brighter, right? That being said, we also have edge width here, and this should control, I'll probably actually have to go through and mess with this edge width to be a little bit more accurate, because I don't think that this is actually doing what it's supposed to do. And we have the kind of noise for the edge. So you can also manipulate where this noise is adding in the first two concretes. So you can kind of get separate little details here. And as you can see up here, these details are what are changing. So as I move this around, it's going to kind of manipulate where those details are showing through. And the scale of that. So if you want a bunch of really small details, you could just crank that scale up, and now you've got like a bunch of splotchiness. Or if you want it to be very less detailed and large splotches, you can drag that scale down, and then it's going to give you big splotches. So it really depends on what you're looking for. This is all made with just a couple textures, a couple materials. And we can come in here. It is a little bit noisy. Oh, that's cool. I'm actually going to just go like this. Boom. And we're going to go like this. Boom. A little bit easier. A little bit easier to see. So concrete 1, concrete 2, and actually this works perfectly because I can go like this. And I wonder if I go to shader editor. And drag this up, we'll be able to see the different things we're manipulating here. So let's go to the concrete 1 color and value. That is up here in our concrete 1 collection. So as I move the hue and the value around, that's what this is. And what is concrete 1? Well, we can just shift click on this first image. It's just this image. This is concrete 1. I got it online. It's totally tiles. You can see it tiles. It doesn't look that good. I have it going through this hue saturation node and going through this into this principled BSDF. And then I also have this color ramp right here, which is not doing anything crazy. I also have this image, which is the same image as this. It's just no saturation. And I have this one, honestly, should be non-color. That is what it should look like. And that is plugging directly into the bump, which is then going into this principled BSDF and mixing it. So this is what's coming out of the first principled BSDF. This is concrete 1. This is the material that we are using for concrete 1. And then we are mixing that. This could go right here just to see what we're doing here. Take this up, take this up. That is mixing with concrete 2, which is the same image flipped sideways, also getting desaturated, also mixing with the same exact black and white image, also sideways, into a principled BSDF. So it's doing the same thing, right? It's just different sides of it. And those are getting mixed together with this as a factor. So it's a noise texture mixed in with a color ramp to kind of crunch that down, really give it some contrast. And I'm just mixing those colors together so that I have control of that. And that is going into this here. Now, what is this? This is an edge mask. And I take a noise texture, I plug it into the distance of an ambient occlusion node, and I crush it down a little bit, and that's how we're getting this. So what I want to do is come here to the edge width, which is being pulled from this, and this is not what I want. I want it to be pulled from this, the edge width of this. And the way that we could do that, let's take this scale, and we're going to plug this scale in to here. Ooh, wait, cancel. Zoom out. Here it is. We're going to take the scale of this, and we're going to plug it into here. and we'll rename that to be weather scaling, not just splotch scaling, because the scale of this one has to do with the splotchiness of this, right? So when we're messing with this scale down here, we're messing with that splotchiness. But when we mess with this scale, we're messing with this splotchiness and how much of those first two concretes are bleeding into the first concrete. You can make it very small, very, very big. And one other thing I want to get rid of, this edge width, because that's not accurate. The edge width will actually come from these. So what I want to do is I want to take this into, there's a way to do this. I take this into a color, mixed color, and this I want to be perfectly white. Color, mix. Maybe this needs to be perfectly black. There we go. So what I want to do is take this into, this will actually be edge width, the factor of this. Because now when I take this factor left or right, as you can see, it should be manipulating that. Maybe it is just color. No, it should be mix. It should be factor. Pretty sure that's a way to control it. Let's try that again. No. Because I want this to be controlled, but I don't know how to control this. Wonder if I can take this position of this and manipulate it. Leave that at 16. There needs to be a way that I can feed this back. The only problem is once it's used, right? So I'm just trying to figure out how I can use this factor. So maybe it won't be mix. Let's try regular color like it was set to, and let's try that. Nope. I wonder if I could set this to float. See, it's saying no. It's saying that you can't mess with that factor. What about this? Nope. Vector? Nope. Color. And we'll take this color into A, with the factor being yes or no. Ooh, what if it's multiply? See, but that's not doing exactly what I want. What if it's screen? This is where I spend all of my time trying to manipulate these materials so that you guys have something that is actually usable, right? So then you have this material that you can just drop onto your object. You're like, I have a building in the background and I need a non-tiling material in the background. And I just want to be able to manipulate it in the ways that I need to manipulate it. And so it's like a lot of trial and error of getting this to work. So you can be like, oh yeah, I want the scale of this to be, let's move this here. I want to change the scale of the noise of concrete 1. I just need these splotches to be a little bit smaller. Boom, they're smaller. You know what, I want the top splotches to be a little bit darker. Let's bring those down. You know what, I don't like that this concrete is super red. I want it to be kind of just the same color as everything else, more of a sandstone. Sick, there, it's done. You know, that ability, and then regardless of which go like this. Options, correct face attributes. Z, Control R, boom. 3, extrude. Regardless of what your thing is, tab, all, U, cube project, boom. It's like now you have this material that automatically is detecting edges. It's automatically got a center area, and you can just drag and drop, and it's fully manipulatable. You've got full control over what you want that center to be looking like, moving things left and right, the scale of the detail coming into the center, or like no detail, right? Like just make it as big as possible, biggest splotches as possible. Take those and bring their value up, right? Just be like, actually I want the edges to be really bright and I want the center to be really dark. Boom. Reverse it. And 15 scale is really large. You take that down. So it's a decent system. The one thing I wish I had more control over was this edgeware, right? This edgeware is built using an ambient occlusion node, and unfortunately, I don't have control over it. I'm wondering if I take edge width here and I plug this into here, if this control will now work. Let's give this a shot. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Yeah, no, that doesn't seem to be doing anything. Unfortunate. Yeah, I wish this factor worked. Or maybe it's B. Take the B into there. This might work. This might work. Edge width. Mix this into the factor. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that looks like that. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. So if this goes into here, then what does this look like? That looks like that. I don't like that at all. And then this. Okay, so this has to be white. See, that doesn't, this needs to come down a little bit. Now, if I was to come to, see, but it's grayed out. It's like, yeah, this doesn't work. You can't change this. What's that look like? That looks bad. No factor on that. Set this at that. Now, if I take this up to edgeware, I wonder if maybe that would work. Let's see. Edge width. Ooh. Let's try this. See, but it's not, it's just like letting it fade in and out, unfortunately, which is like kind of depressing. Because I want it to like really be the actual, right, the factor of this, where it's moving these closer and further apart. We learn new things every day. Looks like I will have to do some research into that. I'm going to delete this. We're just going to continue this with the way it's going, right? So this is still the materials. It's very simple. It looks complicated. Very simple setup. You're just these two are duplicated. The only difference that I have between these two is this second one, I have it rotated on the Z by 90. And they are being mixed together with a noise, getting crushed down with a color ramp, fed into a mixed color node that is getting changed to this, which this part doesn't even have to be there. This was just for the oh, what clamp results does. Nope. This is just for control over it, right? That's what I wanted this to be, was just for control over it. Didn't really work, so we could technically take this. Where is this going into? Into this factor here, directly. And we can delete this, and we can come back down to this. And it's all still working. That was just so that I could try and control the edge width. Still can't control the edge width. That's fine. And unfortunately, I have no ability to chat here or see chat. But it looks like nobody's chatting, so that should be fine. So yeah, this works. I'm okay with this. This works just fine. This seems to be a decent little concrete material. And the nice thing is when you get something like this, you can come in and replace these materials with your own materials, right? So if you're like, oh, this top concrete, I want it to look different. I have an image of concrete that I want to use. You can just grab the node group, hit tab, come into here, and go find. Let's go documents, assets, stock. Let's go to textures, and we've got all sorts of different, images in here with different materials and different textures that you can use. You could be like, oh, I want this one, I want that one, whatever it is. You can start incorporating that in, and even use stuff that isn't concrete, right? Like this would be kind of cool to use. This is the one I am using currently right now. This maybe incorporate some rock, incorporate some just regular grunge. This might be cool. Let's use this. Let's incorporate that. And now you're getting a little bit of a different vibe going on here, which can, really change up how your material looks just by switching out one image, right? And we can drag this down to match a little bit better, not be so bright. But now you're getting a whole different pattern of things going on. And these scales are a little high. We take these down, take them up, do whatever you want. Like it really is just completely manipulatable. Let's go there, extrude, tab, Control A, scale. Set the scale, tab, all, U, cube projection. Boom, tab. And now it's all just being projected on. You just have this for any kind of concrete in the background. And if you want this this center value to not be so dark, just brighten it up. Just brighten it up. It's fine. The one thing I do want to add is that edge wear. Make that edge wear kind of bleed in more. I just don't know how to really set that scale to where it really bleeds in more. It's either very detailed, but like actually dropping the size of it, I do not understand how to kind of make that bleed out, because there's no way to tie a color ramp back to a node to give you control, at least that I know of. I'm still really trying to figure out how to be able to take this position of this node and be like, I want this to bleed in, I want it to bleed out, or even this one and bleed this one in, bleed this one out. It's got a control right here. I really want to add a driver to it. You know what? Maybe I can. What happens when this comes all the way out? That really jumps at 1. Bring this one up. Let's take this value here and let's bring this center value up. Like that. That looks pretty good. And this is inside and local only. We might, outside will only do that one. So it'll do this, edge wear there, which maybe I'll have to create a grunge side of this where it adds grunge into crevices but adds, edge wear to edges. Just to make this look a little better, I'm going to throw a bevel on it. Go 2. Kind of round those edges, make it look a little bit more like concrete. But yeah, this is how simple it can be to like really add detail to a 3D model. And like up close, it does not look like bad at all. Let me make sure all of these are on non-color, non-color, non-color. That's fine. Non-color, that's fine. It's fun. I will say it is really fun to kind of build these out. And I will have a Gumroad link for you guys linked below this for this project file that you guys can go use this and manipulate it. And if one of you guys figures out how to control the position of a color ramp, let me know. Let me know. I would love to know how to control these. Which I know this with this position here, the one. So picking which one you want to move and then picking the position of that one, there's got to be a way to do that. Because it's there, it just doesn't have a handle for it. These need to be stacked on the side like this. One with a little dot. Position with a little dot. So that you can drag these back. So that you can control giant node groups. So everyone tag Blender Guru because he has access to the Blender Foundation. And Blender Guru, Ian Hubert, all of you guys, get in contact with him and tell them we need it updated to the color ramp. We need these accessible for our outputs. What is it called? This. We need to be able to control these aspects, because that would just give insane amounts of control to our procedural materials in Blender. And this is super, I mean, as long as your images are small or you're using the same images over and over again, then you could have a couple 4K images in here and it's not going to chug that hard because it's all accessing the same images. It's just rotating them. And so it really only has to hold that image in cache once, and it's just all doing it all relatively simply, relatively easily. Definitely a useful little tool. But yeah, you guys, this was my little YouTube test. I'm glad it ended up working out. I have never streamed on YouTube before, and I usually stream on Twitch, but I just wanted to, all of my content ends up here on YouTube anyways, so I was like, I should just start streaming because it kind of turns it into a little tutorial right off the bat. Whenever I stream, it just turns into a little video that you guys have access to. So when I am kind of testing this stuff out, that's another side of this. Like all of my tutorials, I usually have to go and do them like 2 or 3 times before I like really figure out how to do it quickly so that it's streamlined for you guys on the channel. But with this, you guys will be able to kind of see the process and watch me build stuff in real time and kind of see mistakes I'm making and be able to correct me on it, which will be super useful for me and for you guys, because then you can really just follow along as I'm testing stuff out. And we can really just build up that Blender asset library of handcrafted stuff, so that the next time Punisher does a 3D render challenge, we already have our library built and we're not spending a bunch of time doing this. I just love how this ended up turning out. It's just like 3 or 4 images. It looks so good. I feel like the hue on this is pretty 350. I think I'm going to take that center value up actually. Like the sandstone. I really like that. With just slight. This is just slightly darker. That looks great. Looks fantastic. And I might even be a little too dark. Set this up at like 240. It's in the background of a scene. Nice little concrete. Decent little concrete. And the next step would be to do the same thing with this and mix these together. This one would have a let's go Shift D, boom. Actually, delete this, take this factor into distance, take this, and go, because what does this look like? That looks like that. That looks like that. Take this and just reverse these two. White, black. And so like that, but then go, yes, local only inside, like that. So now we would be adding some grunge in here, which would be really cool. And anywhere that there's two faces kind of touching each other, we could be adding some dirt in there. And this one we might actually even take this down like that, so it's just a little bit, because that's really what we're looking for. And then mix these two together, right? Mix color. Oh, this actually, maybe flip these. Oh, mix, goofball. There we go. Yeah. We'll do color, we'll do multiply. There we go. Darken, darker color. Nope, that's color burn, darker, darken. Clamp result, clamp factor. Yes, like that. And then just take this into the factor. Boom. And so what does this do? Oh, this is add dirt. And so that will be, boom, like that. Now we can see we're adding it in right there. A little bit of edge wear. Which doesn't really quite make sense, right? Like, as far as it shouldn't be getting worn down right there, but, you know, whatever. So, I just think, and maybe that's where I go and I get a dirt controller. I make a new one of these and I bring it down and it's always darker, but it always only shows up in here. And so then you can kind of get a little bump with some grunge and some dirt. But yeah, there's a little material for y'all. Yeah, I'll upload this to Gumroad and I'll throw this into the. It'll just be a free download. I'll throw this into the description of this video once it uploads to YouTube. But this is a nice little breakdown. I'm going to try and get you guys a screenshot here of this entire node structure. I'm going to zoom in on each part and I'll move this in here so you can see these. Boom. You guys could take a little screenshot. Boom. So this one I'm not even using. Noise texture to color ramp, factor of the mix node to mix these two. And that is going down into this. This is the same kind of setup, right? Hue saturation. Plug it into this. Let's look at that. Boom. You kind of follow these through. And these are going into a mix shader. So concrete 1 and 2 mix shaders going into this mix shader. And then I'm using these two ambient inclusion nodes. One is inside, one is not inside. Both using relatively the similar color ramps, and those are getting darkened against each other into this. And that is how you get this entire setup. So it looks convoluted, and I could probably make the strings look a little bit better, but you guys can just download this anyways. But if you want to make it yourself and improve on it, by all means, screenshot, share with your friends, or don't. Keep it for yourself. I don't mind. And I'm pretty stoked on how this material turned out. Pretty stoked. And it's just so simple to drag and drop and be like, oh, I want my edges to be darker, and it's like sick. Okay, so I just take this down. And I take this down. Now my edges are darker. I don't have to worry about it. It's just done. Oh, I want to add a little bit of color to the center. Okay. There's some color in the center. Tight. Tight, tight. Well, that is the end of this. Drop a comment if you know how to fix that color ramp issue. How do we set this position into this node group? How do we manipulate where these are showing up? And you can see right here, up here, you can see it adding it and it subtracting it. Because if we can control this, then we can control like edge wear, and that would be very useful. And maybe it's not a color ramp, maybe we use something similar. Like I know the RGB curve node can also be kind of used in a similar way. So it's just something to think about. But thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining the first JP's first YouTube stream, you guys. I'm very excited on it. I'm excited to be doing this. So, yeah. Unfortunately, my Streamlabs deck thing doesn't work, so I have to manually change this over, which is fine. Have a good one, y'all. Check out this this video. This should be up. Deuces.